Hey everyone, I'm Phillip Kennedy Johnson, writer and co-creator of The Last God, a comic book series from DC Black Label. I'm super excited to introduce DC Daily's 3-day special event for The Last God RPG, and that my friend Dan Telfer of D&D Beyond, who helped write the stats and mechanics for The Last God Sourcebook, is joining us to actually play the game. For those of you who don't know the story, The Last God takes place in a harsh, unforgiving fantasy world called Cain Anuun that was almost destroyed once by an entity called the God in the Void. Cain Anuun was saved then by a fellowship of heroes that climbed the black stair at the edge of creation, faced the last god, and killed him. 30 years later, the heroes of the fellowship are the rulers of Cain Anuun, and all's well, until something very unexpected happens, and we learn that the events of the black stair didn't happen the way the fellowship said. Now the legions of the last god are overrunning Cain Anuun again, and another group of characters get swept up in a quest to find out what really happened at the Black Stair, and to succeed where their heroes failed, and finally kill the God of the Void. And now DC Daily presents The Last God role-playing adventure.
Remember now, Flaloa, when you are far from home. Return to where your heart is, wherever you may roam. Kjuli, the queen of rivers, she fled from ice and snow a long, long time ago. I remember now, Flaloa.
Yay!
You have been hearing this song drifting through the forest at the edge of the great forest Chakatlattuo as you travel along your way. You know you need to stop in at a village and pick up some supplies, but you are a group of very unusual individuals, even for a world as strange and wondrous as the Last God. As the morning dawns on the camp that you've made, we take a look at a very interesting group of folks. Would you all please describe yourselves?
I am a little stone man. I am very off-putting to most people, so I try to keep a low profile and stay seated, because when I walk around, I'm only about 3 feet tall. I am very non-aggressive. I try to keep to myself. I am known as a jaw rook, but most folks have never heard of a jaw rook and never seen anything like me. In fact, I have had children throw rocks at me because they're afraid I'm some sort of witch's creature.
And this world is filled with the dangerous wreckage of the experimental guild Eldritch. So while Ridley is very friendly, it's very understandable. You never know what's coming around the corner as the product of the mad science of the guild.
Correct, and though I do not come from the guild, folks generally assume I am either some sort of deformed child or a product of them.
I am a human barbarian, clearly. My character's name is Pro Talak, and I hail from the frozen north, and I am a crossed man, which means that I am a descendant of the people who rose up and killed all the dragons. You're welcome. You're welcome, people of the land. And I tend to throw myself into battle more so than any other warrior you can imagine. That is sort of my whole purpose. Pro Talak.
Now, Flo, what do we see?
So I am Nathula. I am about 5'6" and have golden skin. But she is definitely a warrior. She grew up in a kind of outer area and hasn't had a lot of experience in the world and around a lot of people, because when I was very young, I was sent to a secret society where I protected the children who were there. And now I've been sent out to learn more about the world so that way I can protect them even better.
And what do we have? What do we see with Sid?
Name is Sid, human rogue. Tend to dress in pretty nondescript clothes because that way they don't see me sneaking up on them. You might see people around who know my name because I kinda accidentally started a bar riot just as a prank, but you probably didn't notice me first. I have my Ursulon Nogelmuser here, my big boy. I love him to death. And
stalking beside Sid is an enormous, graceful terrifying creature known as an Ursulon. You have all heard of them. You may or may not have met one before now. They are a furry, extremely tall, extremely powerful, extremely intelligent, and very, very dangerous. But once in a great long while, there's a bond between a human or Elva and an Ursulon. And this may be one of those cases.
He's a good boy. He's totally harmless. I mean, unless I like sick him on somebody, but yeah, you guys don't gotta worry about him. He's like totally sweet. You can pet him.
Now, how did you all come together? I believe Ridley was maybe in a spot of trouble?
Yes. I was actually pinned under a boulder. It was a very difficult situation. I was trying to keep a low profile, but as it was, an Ursulon saw me walking by and tried to crack me open to see if there was any meat inside. There wasn't. And when it was disappointed, it left me there for a few years. Luckily, I do not require sustenance, so it was just rather unfortunate. Eventually, I was located and saved.
As I was coming to the town to learn more about everything, I passed something that was making a noise, and somehow, because he was so small, he reminded me of the children that I had protected, and I felt led to just help him escape, and I lifted the stones, and we've been traveling together since.
Said, oh, hello. And she was the first person to actually stop and recognize me.
Crow, did you hear about this bar riot that Sid started over in Burlthing, the town she is maybe not welcome in anymore?
Yes, of course. I was a part of the riot and had actually come across Sid in my travels, and we had bonded a little bit because I had recognized in Sid a fellow troublemaker, I would say is a good way to start to say it. Then months and months later, found myself in this bar in the midst of this riot, and even exchanged blows with Sid without knowing that it was Sid. And then I pulled my hand back as I was punching somebody, and they were punching me, and I stood back and I went, Sid? And Sid
Brother.
was like, yes, yeah.
I was about to fling a chair at you.
In the middle of the riot, I got Sid some mead, we sat down and we caught up. She is like a sister to me, yes.
Ah, we've been best mates ever since. Nagelnooser even lets him pet him right behind the ears.
So as you are breaking camp for the morning, you are heading to, you've heard there's a village nearby where you can get some provisions. Ridley doesn't need them, but everyone else is hungry. Walking along the edge of the forest, and I would like everyone to please make for me a perception check.
I got a 22.
Observant little thing.
12 for me.
I have a 19.
I think I beat everybody. Ridley, I think I got you beat. And I swear to you, I rolled a natural 20.
Hey!
Yes!
And I have a perception of +3, so that's a 23. So Ridley, I got you beat.
That's all right. I'm not very competitive.
Ridley.
Whatever you like. I'll just stay behind you. That's fine.
Ridley,
Argan.
you are adorable.
I mean, I saw quite a bit, but I won't step on your toes. This is all you. This is fine.
As Ridley quietly and potentially judgmentally observes what comes next, Crow is in front, leading the group of you as you're tromping through the edge of the forest, and is the first to spot, in a glade far away, a tiny figure who seems to be anxiously shouting. Oh, get back! Get away!
Does everyone hear that? Because I hear it the most. But does everyone else hear that?
Does it sound like one of my people or a child or?
It sounds like a child, a human or elven child.
It sounds like they're in need of help. We should go rescue them.
I agree.
Yeah, alright, I'll hang back.
So as Sid and Nagelnooser hang back at the edge, potentially to provide backup for the rest of you, the three of you head towards the glade. And as you do, as you emerge from the trees into the glade, a toddler elven girl bursts out of the trees on the other side, waving a wooden sword, and says, "You've fallen into my trap! Surrender to Kjuli, Queen of Rivers!"
Queen of Rivers, you are but a child.
"I'm Kjuli, Queen of Rivers, great chieftain and builder of cities and the city of North Laloa, and I demand that you surrender."
I kneel before Kjuli.
I too kneel before Kjuli and say, I am here to serve and protect, milady.
It takes me a minute, but I do put down my great sword and kneel before Kjuli.
I guess I just saunter over and I say, what are you guys doing? Who's this little girl?
She falls down on her butt. She drops the sword. I'm very sorry. I was just, I'm playing a warrior. Recovering her composure a little, the little elven girl looks around at the group of you and seems to register for the first time that you are very interesting folks, that she was not necessarily expecting to be the ones she caught traveling through the woods today. And she especially lingers on Ridley. And she walks up real close, and her face gets real serious.
Hello?
You talk!
Yes.
That's wonderful. She's staring maybe a little bit too close, but not unfriendly.
I just stand there. I don't mind.
She seems to make up her mind somehow for a second. She stops, she sticks her hand out, and she says, I have to tell you, I am not the Queen of Rivers, but my name is Kjuli, and it's very nice to meet you.
I shake her hand and I say, it is nice to meet you as well. Though you cannot claim to be royalty, should you wish to parley, I will still offer my services.
She looks ecstatic.
Little girl, this is Ridley. They are our friend and our companion and our ally. Even though they are a strange manner of creature, they seem to be pretty cool.
Though I am small, I am older than all of them, and I know secrets that you, Kjuli, as mighty as you are, may also find surprising.
As all this is happening, Nathula kneels down next to Kjuli and looks at her. We're the same, and points out the pointy ears. Basically, Nathula is now bonded to this little girl and is protecting her as she does with Ridley.
What's your name?
My name is Nathula. I'm a protector of small children just like you.
Oh my gosh! If I were the Queen of Rivers and you were Naufla, then we would be lady loves. So, does anyone want to do a history check on that one?
Yep. Unfortunately, not as lucky this time. I have a great bonus on this one, but I rolled a 2, so maybe I'm just blushing a little bit.
You just made your first child friend. It's a lot to take in.
Yeah, I'm trying to. So I have a proficiency bonus of 2 plus 4. So I got a 6 plus 2. I have an 8.
You got an 8. You're almost there. This sounds very familiar. You're pretty sure she's not making this up. There's something there with Kjuli and Naufla.
I got a 19.
Oh, dang, Sid! You've heard a lot of stories told by bards while you were in the same bars getting drunk and kind of trying to tune them out.
I love bards!
You've occasionally followed a really good bard town to town. That's how you sometimes end up in some of these places. Because, the next time they tell the story, they add new things, they change it up. And so you have many times heard that there is a particular piece of history a few hundred years ago. There were two figures who kind of went down in history. There was a human woman who came south, joined the Aelva, and her name became Kjuli. That was her name once she was down there, and she fell in love with a war priest named Naufla. Now, Naufla, she was an elven leader, and they were very happy for a time, although, unfortunately, as so many things were, it was not to last. In one of the northern invasions, Kjuli lost Naufla, but she founded the city that is, to this day, the capital city of the major empires of this world. It has been renamed and taken over several times, but it started out, before it was Tirgalad, before it was Ovargalad, it was Naufla Loa, or Naufla's home, and that was the city Kjuli built. There is still a statue of her in that city, despite the fact that it has been conquered and renamed and taken, and much has changed in the hundreds of years since this happened. You've heard so many versions of this story. They don't all go together, but you know that there were some real people who went by these names, Kjuli and Naufla, and that Naufla Loa, or Naufla's home, was the name of the first great city of this world. So,
yeah, I say all that to everybody.
It's the best tabletop
Just like
role-playing
that.
moment. I say all that.
Sid, I am impressed. You are a great storyteller. You can
I have a
weave
really good memory.
yarn. Yes, an impeccable memory.
Well, Julia, it sounds like we'll have to make sure history does not repeat itself and this Kjuli does not lose her Nautla.
True. As she's saying all of this, Nathula has like a light that goes off in her eyes. You speak of my ancestors. I am Nathula, and I was sent away as a child to a small village to protect the children there. How do you know of this story? How do you know of this name?
We learn all these stories as kids. You probably know the song, remember Nautla Law? Remember Nautla Law when you are far from home. Return to where you come from wherever you may roam. Kjuli, the queen of rivers, she fled from ice and snow a long, long time ago. I remember Nautla Law. Yeah?
Mm.
Yes, and now you, Nautla, you sing exactly like that.
That was close enough. I've got bits and pieces of it. I'm so excited. I've left my society so that I could learn more about my history. So you've revealed so much to me right now. Thank you so much, Julie.
This is the best day ever. And exactly as she says that, unfortunately, you hear, this time a little more seriously, the sound of screams a few yards through the woods. And Julie looks panicked for a moment because that is clearly the direction that she came from, the direction of home for her.
I think you should stay with me, Julie, while some of the bigger people go and investigate.
Okay.
I can run and investigate. I got that on lock, pretty much. So I'll just leave Nogglenoser here with y'all. And don't worry about him, he's a good boy. And I will check it out. Unless, Ro, you want to come.
I've already got my greatsword. Let's go.
Alright, I got a 14 for investigation.
So Sid, Ro, and Nathla, you all are heading off to follow the sounds? And Sid's in front investigating?
Sneaking.
Alright. With that check, Sid, you come around the corner and you can see a very small fire has broken out in a field on the edge of some dwellings.
I see a very small fire is broken out at the edge of some dwellings.
And around it, emitting shrill cries, is a small swarm of winged creatures with vaguely dragony heads, but very, very small. The three of you roll a nature check to see if you have seen these before. It's not a high check.
All right, I got a 4.
Okay, you spent a lot of time in the
almost
bars.
A 20 and
not
then
so many with the Crow, Nautla?
It's an 11 total. An 11.
11 total. And Nautla?
A 6.
Okay, so Crow has spotted immediately that these are what are known as gallows imps.
Cain Anuun is home to a lot of creatures. Some of them will be vaguely familiar to tabletop gamers, but many won't be. There's the Barrow Fiends, humanoid, subterranean terrors with torsos that open like jaws. Gallows imps, reptilian scavenger birds created by the body manipulators of the Guild Eldritch. But my favorite is the Ursulon, a gigantic, deceptively intelligent mammal that can run on 4 legs or stand and fight on 2. They mourn their dead, sing low, long melodies that function as speech, and from time to time they form extremely close bonds with members of other races, even letting them ride them into battle.
They are a hybrid of human and dragon biology cooked up by the Guild Eldritch Wizards, which, like so many of their products, escaped from their control and now sort of infest the countryside. They're zipping around, tearing at things with their claws, and just making a big old ruckus.
Ooh.
Do I know?
That's a no-no.
Do I know if these imps have any sort of known weakness or something that they are resistant to?
Not with that check. You guys plunging in?
Yes, are there people that are in danger? Because you said these imps are attacking a village. These imps are
There
attacking...
are some distressed-looking villagers, a mix of elven and human, actually. But none of them look particularly like fierce warriors.
Nathula looks to Hero and says, "You've killed all of the dragons before, so what do you know of these creatures?"
Oh, I know about them, but as soon as I learned of them, I stopped learning of them because they are disgusting. Look at those imps. Ugh! They have human-like features and look at their little human teeth coming out of a scaly head. Ugh! Ugh!
Roll for initiative!
Okay.
Am I in this one?
If you want to be, yeah.
Yeah, I'm holding back with Kjuli, but I'll roll.
Okay.
Ooh, 20.
Oh, dang, our second natural 20 of the game!
16.
12.
3?
All right. Sid, you are up first.
I am not strong, so I'm going to use my bow and arrow. And I'm also going to imagine a cool whistle. I whistle to Knocklemooser. And so he comes running with me. But I am going to attack with my bow.
All right. So you can see about 6 of these imps pretty clearly. And as we get into this, just for the record, we are going to refer to them with various colors. For our purposes, they are red, orange, yellow, green, purple, and blue. Mm-hmm. So who are you shooting at?
I'm going to shoot at red.
Excellent.
19 plus attack is...
When you use your short bow, you're going to add +5 to hit.
Okay, so 24.
A 24. Tell me what it looks like as you draw that short bow, please. Because it looks cool as heck, and you're about to nail this.
I do a little flip, a little cartwheel, and then I, just because I like to flex, I take the bow and arrow, and I bend over backwards, and I shoot it upside down. And I say, that's how it's done, baby.
And unerringly, that arrow flies towards the gallows imp. And what kind of damage do you do on there?
8.
With 8 points of damage, that bolt goes straight through the heart of the first gallows imp, who gives a shocked cry and is, extra devastated because you looked so cool doing this, and collapses in a heap on the ground. 1 down.
Shot through the heart, and you're to blame, Sid. Nice work. And now it's...
I love my favorite bard.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
And now it is Fro's
Bard
turn.
Jovi. He's the best. Bard
Yes,
Jovi is
Bard
such a
Jovi.
good bard. Yes.
It's great that you love him, but somehow that still gives love a bad name.
You are so wise, Ridley. That's true, yes. Another one of his hits. Now it's my turn.
Telek, take your shot.
I want to target, I don't care the color, I want to target the one that seems as though it is most likely to attack an innocent being.
That is the one we're calling green,
Green.
which seems to be making for a nice elderly man.
Ooh, not on my watch. I love the elderly. I have a hand axe that is a ranged weapon. The range is 20 to 60 feet. Is this imp within my range?
Yes.
I will throw this axe. Here we go. I have a 10 plus 5, that's 15. Did I
Woo!
hit?
That'll do it. That'll
Yes.
do it. End over end, it sails, and chunks right in the left wing for how much damage?
So it's a 1d6 plus 3. So 2 plus 3, 5.
All right. It's taken a solid chunk out of the green gallows imp, who seems to be distracted from its target, but is fixing its beady eyes on you. Ridley, what would you like to do?
How's Kjuli doing?
She is sort of just frozen in place. She looks to her little wooden sword, but looks very uncertainly at the village where she clearly lives. She's mumbling something like, "But I'm a great warrior, but..."
Kjuli,
Not again.
are you worried your sword is not powerful enough?
It's just a wood one.
Do you like it to yell something scary at enemies?
That would be one.
What would you like your sword to yell at the enemies that you have in this world?
For the Queen of Rivers, leave my city alone!
All right. I cast Magic Mouth on her wooden sword. This lasts until it is dispelled. A small little mouth will now appear on the sword. And as I cast it, I shout in a very un-Ridley-like voice, this booming voice as if from a mountain, exactly her message, word for word. I place my hand on the sword, and now whenever an enemy approaches her will be the trigger. When someone who wishes her ill will approaches, she can hold the sword out and it will cry out.
Amazing. Her eyes have somehow gotten even larger, and you swear you can see the reflection of the entire sky in them as she gazes on this wonderful and enchanting and enchanted object that has been her dearest friend and is now bringing her dreams to life in front of her. So she's pretty distracted from the danger happening in the village, so that's great. Amazing. I'm so happy right now. It's fine. And I'm so happy because now the imps are coming to play. We still have 5 imps in commission, and 2 of them are going to spend their turns just raking through objects around the village, just causing destruction, breaking open bales of hay, smashing pots, lifting things and dropping them, just sowing disruptive chaos. But the other 3 are going to come at our 3 party members here. Now...
Hey, disruptive chaos is only fun when I do it!
So one of the gallows imps makes for Hrotalak, and is going to try to use a simpering fang to attack you, Hrotalak. And this... Ooh, sorry. What is your AC, Hrotalak?
My armor class is 14. I have an unarmored defense.
All right, possibly fueled by frustration at being turned away from its first target, this gallows imp's claw finds its target in your shoulder all too easily.
That's my second favorite shoulder.
And you take 12 slashing damage.
Well, my hit points is only 32, so ouch.
So, the second one is gonna head for Sid. Sid, what's your AC?
14.
All right. It is also gonna find its mark with the claws of the grave and dig into your side. This one has to get further towards you. It flies straight in your direction, breaking off from the others to reach you. You're only taking 6 slashing damage. This one missed its mark a little bit with the effort of getting to you there.
Okay. Ouch.
And the third one is coming around for Hro again. And unfortunately, they are very determined in their mission. They are unusually aggressive and coordinated for gallows imps, and this one is coming straight at you.
Bring it on!
For another 6 piercing damage, plus this time, it did come in with some fire. So you are also looking at 12 points of fire damage. How you doing there?
So that's 6 plus 12?
Yes, I'm so sorry.
Oh, okay. I am down to 2 hit points.
Brother!
Is it my turn yet?
I'm just gonna take a quick nap, everybody.
You're not out yet, and I'm very sorry. No, I'm not. I'm not sorry. The gallows imps have used, that was their last move, and now, Naufla.
Okay.
It's your turn. What would you like to do?
She also lifts up her warhammer and yells, "For on way!" and runs over to attack the imp that's attacking Hro.
Excellent. So you run over to the orange imp, who is taking the biggest chunk out of Hrotalak.
Does a 14 hit?
It does!
Yes!
Just barely. You make it over, and what does it look like as you smash with your hammer? Or tell me what the damage is, and then we'll decide what it looks like.
8, 9. 9 points of damage. she runs over, but looks like she's dancing as she's doing it with her warhammer over her head, and just punts him like a golf club.
With that mighty swing, the imp, with its wings dangling almost uselessly as the force of its body's movement carries it, flies out of the clearing. And the other imps, they notice this. They are a little thrown off. They were not clearly expecting much armed resistance, much less incredibly impressive array of armed resistance. And the Chaos ones break off in the wake of the orange imp's ejection. They all sort of fly a little bit in a circle, and they start exiting. They start leaving the clearing, the village.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
I hand Ro a potion of healing.
Excellent.
What just happened?
If you drink that, that's 2d4 plus 2 hit points.
Okay. The first one is 3. The second one is 4. That's 7. Plus 4. 11.
You've regained vitality. You can feel it flowing through you as you down the potion that your small rock friend has handed you. And
Great.
you've still got some very impressive looking burns on your arm. That's possible intimidation bonus there.
Yeah, good. It's intimidating. I'm at 13 hit points out of 32.
But the good news is that the imps have left the area, and emerging cautiously from the building, you start to see the mix of human and elven residents that you had seen fleeing earlier. And they look astounded. They've seen this many times before, but it does not usually end this way. And a middle-aged woman, stocky, with black hair and a bun, comes out, and an elven woman, and comes forward and says, "Thank you, strangers. I'm Varla. Welcome to our town. We owe you a great debt."
You can pay us in mead.
Her face lights up side to side. This is the language she speaks. And with that, you are thrown essentially a fabulous, very tiny village party by the grateful residents. And they explain that there is an enemy of this village who has been sending the gallows imps, who has somehow dominated their will and been sending them after the village for years to exact a toll. You hear, once again, you hear that Remember Naflaloa song. It seems to be the only song these people know. But this time in drunken choruses, Remember Naflaloa, as you are sitting around a campfire towards the end of this celebration, they've given you the supplies that you needed. You are surprised by a figure who enters from the edge of what's sort of like a cliff at the edge of the village. A small cliff. But someone comes towards the campfire, and out of the darkness angrily enters the frame, and it is an elven man of middle height with a wicked scar on one cheek. And instantly a hush falls over the group. And he says, "Why was my toll messed with? You are not done paying the debt." One of the elven elders says, When will the debt be paid?" And he scowls in every direction and he says, "It can never be paid." And he looks down, and you hear unmistakably a voice say,
"Hail the Queen of Rivers, leave my city alone!"
as he scoops up the tiny child Kjuli and dashes backwards away from the campfire in the village.
Oh!
Whoa.
I would immediately be scurrying after this guy.
You are scurrying after him as you see him go with Kjuli over the cliff, apparently. And a moment later, rising over the edge, is a gyrehawk on which is mounted an angry, scowling elven holding a terrified child as they fly out of sight.
Oh, man.
And that is it for this session.
A literal cliffhanger!
Literal cliffhanger, that's right. Wow.